this is Eric Lofholm. I want to welcome you to the Continuous Sales Improvement Radio Show. I'm thrilled to be with you today. Today's topic, 7 ways to motivate your sales team. This is a show for sales leaders, sales managers, and I'm a sales manager myself. I've been managing my team now for over 20 years. I'm thrilled to be with you here today. If you're new to my conversation, a little bit about my background. I started my sales training company in 1999. I currently have clients all over the world, and I'm passionate about helping salespeople perform at their best. So in today's show, I'm going to go through 7 ideas to motivate your sales team. Idea number 1 is intention. Your intention to have a motivated sales team. Have you ever thought of it like that? You know, obviously you want to produce a certain amount of numbers and certain number of clients you're looking to get or whatever your initiatives are. But have you ever thought about, hey, it's my intention to have a motivated sales team? So that's idea number 1. Idea number 2, it's my core idea, which is continuous sales improvement. I started off in sales in the early 1990s. I was the bottom producer at the company that I worked at. I misquoted 2 months in a row at the end of my first year. My manager pulled me into the office and said, Eric, you're my bottom producer. We have a 3 strikes and you're out rule. If you misquoted 1 more month, then we're going to let you go. So my back was against the wall and I had to hit my quota. And I had a very real problem. I did not know how to sell. So for anybody on your team right now that's a bottom producer or anybody that's struggling on your team, I really have a heart for them because that's exactly where I was at. I started looking for answers. And it was at that time that I met who became my mentor, Dr. Donald Moyne. And he's a brilliant, brilliant sales trainer. And I received professional sales training for the first time in my career. The next month, I did $10,500 in gross sales. Quota's $10,000. So I made about 1 sale. And the next month after that, I did $51,000. I went from worst to first in 60 days, and I've never looked back. I've gone on to do millions and millions of dollars in sales. And what I learned from that experience is that selling is a learned skill. I then went on to work for Tony Robbins. I had a 3-year run with Tony in the late 1990s, and then started my own company in 1999. So for over 20 years now, I've been helping salespeople all over the world become the best version of themselves. And I thought to myself about a year ago, what's made the difference for me? How did I go from a bottom producer to a top producer to elite at sales to an international sales trainer? And it really came down to continuous sales improvement. And so that's what I teach to all the salespeople that I work with. That's the number 1 idea that I start with. And by continuous sales improvement, what I mean is 15 minutes to an hour per week or more for life to work on your sales skills. So if I was to come in and work with your sales team, that's the piece of advice I would tell all of them. Work on your skills for 15 minutes to an hour or more per week for life. Because the pattern of a breakthrough is we learn, and then we have a breakthrough. We learn, and then we have a breakthrough. So anyone on your sales team, if they worked on their skills and never stopped for the rest of their career, they would consistently have sales breakthroughs. Now, imagine if your entire sales team bought in to this philosophy of continuous sales improvement. So for the 50 minutes to an hour or more per week, what do I want them to work on? 4 things: sales skills, personal development skills, product knowledge, technology. Now, they don't need to do all 4 every week. They can do fewer as many as they want, but do at least one. I want 15 minutes to an hour or more per week for life. This will create breakthroughs. This is what is a big part of my secret sauce that has helped me create the results that I have been able to create in my career. Idea number 3, encourage your team. When I first got started in selling, at my very first job, I worked for a gentleman named Dante Pirano. And I remember one day Dante came to me. I was his bottom producer at the time. And he said, Eric, one day you're going to be a great salesperson. And I was thinking, there must be somebody named Eric behind me because he's not talking to me. I'm his bottom guy. But Dante believed in me before I believed in myself. You're in a position of authority with your team. You're their sales leader. So what you say matters, and it might matter even more than what you realize. There's a famous story about Mike Tyson. When he was living on the streets, he was a street thug, and Customato took him in. He allowed him to live in his home. And Customato began to mentor Mike Tyson and train him in boxing. And he said, Mike, your punches, they're fast, they're quick. Your punches are devastating. You're going to be heavyweight champion of the world. Mike, your punches are fast, they're quick. Your punches are devastating. You're going to be heavyweight champion of the world. And Customato would tell Mike Tyson this again and again and again. And of course, Mike Tyson became heavyweight champion of the world. And if it wasn't for Customato, we would have never heard of Mike Tyson. So believe in your team and encourage them. Idea number 4 is to have your sales reps do some sales training at your weekly or monthly sales meeting. Now, I teach 3 ways to learn. One way to learn is intellectually. That's how you're learning right now. You're listening or you're watching this video, and you're learning intellectually. Reading in a book, doing a coaching session. These are all ways of learning intellectually. The second way of learning is to learn by doing, experiential learning. So your sales team, one of your reps goes out into the field, they try a closing technique. They're learning the technique experientially. Third way to learn is by teaching. So when you ask your rep who's good at referrals to come in and train at the sales meeting and say, hey, I'm going to give you 5 minutes, teach us. How do you do it? Well, that's very powerful for your rep to get that recognition and acknowledgement. And then when he trains, your sales team gets to hear a different voice, not just from you. Each week, have a different rep, or however often your meetings are, monthly or weekly, have a rep do 5 minutes of the meeting. And occasionally you can even do special meetings or use your reps to train the new reps coming on board. It's a different way of learning when they're the ones doing the teaching. Idea number 5, get to know your reps. Get to know them as best you can. Spend one-on-one time with them. Listen to their goals. Listen to their dreams. Listen to their struggles. Ask them this question. What is your biggest sales challenge right now? I remember a coaching session I had with one of my clients. Her name is Nicole. Nicole sells solar. So I'm on the coaching call with her. And she says, I'm not a same-day closer. Now, I've never heard that before. What do you mean a same-day closer? She goes, well, I don't usually close when I'm in the home delivering my solar presentation at the end of the first appointment. And I said, well, how do you do it then? She goes, well, I get to the end of the presentation. The person says they need to think about it. And I follow up. I'm the queen of follow-up. She said it like proudly. I'm the queen of follow-up. And Nicole was number 2 in her company when we did that coaching session. And she was a significant 6-figure earner. So she's making great money. She's number 2 on the sales team. And she told me she's not a same-day closer. And I said, Nicole, the solar presentation is designed to be closed when you're in the home. It's not designed for excessive follow-up. And certainly if you need a follow-up, then that's fine. But it's designed to be closed when you're there. So, Nicole, it starts with a change in your mindset. Start viewing yourself as somebody who effectively closes when you're in the home. And I said, we're probably going to have to work with your sales presentation because there's probably things that you're saying in the presentation before you ask for the order that's guiding the prospect to say, I need to think about it. So I worked with her to re-engineer a presentation and work with her on her mindset to embrace what she called same-day closing. Well, within a short amount of time, Nicole closed 16 solar deals in 1 month, her best month ever in 7 years of selling solar. And many of those were same-day closes. Now that she has that new mindset and that new skill set, she has it for the rest of her life. And I was so happy that Nicole sought out my advice, and I was so happy to help her. But having said that, I got to thinking, I wonder if her sales manager knows that prior to working with me, she didn't view herself as a same-day closer. I wonder if her sales manager was aware of that problem. And chances are he or she was not aware, because she was coming to me, I'm guessing, probably because she wasn't getting that support that she had needed from her own manager. Now, I know you're probably stretched pretty thin and you got different hats that you need to wear in your company, but just do the best you can to get that one-on-one time with your reps, and that's going to help them work even harder for you. Idea number 6 is kind of like idea number 5. It's to really listen to your team. Really listen to them. A younger version of me, I'm a smart guy, and a younger version of me was like, well, I've got all the answers. I've had a sales team now for a little over 20 years, and a younger version of me had all the answers. And as I've matured and gotten older, I do a much better job of listening to my team. Think about the sales process. Don't you want your salespeople to listen to the prospect, to identify the needs of the prospect, right? And really go in and build that trust and rapport? Well, in leadership, we can do the same thing. We're not selling a product or a service. We're leading our troops. We're leading our team. So I want to just encourage you, as you go through this week, really listen to your team. And idea number 7 is for you to grow as a leader. And so the best thing that I can do from a leadership standpoint is just keep getting better, right? I can only provide the leadership to my team based on the skill set that I have. Leadership is a learned skill. It's a muscle, just like selling is. And it's a skill set that you can learn and you can develop. So I want to encourage you to fall in love with learning about leadership. My leadership style has really changed through the years for the better. A younger version of me, I was a very emotional leader. And there's nothing wrong with emotion, but I was bringing a roller coaster of emotions to my team. Instead of bringing emotion with enthusiasm and encouragement, it was that, but then it was the downside as well. And so my team had to ride my emotions with me, and I'm a much more even-keeled leader now, and I've worked a lot on my leadership. So I want to encourage you, just like what you're doing right now. You're doing it by watching this radio show and hearing my ideas, and you want to continue to do this. So before we wrap up the show, I've got some next steps that you could potentially take with my company, and I hope you'll take one or more of these steps. So step number 1 is my team and my company's available with our professional trainers to come in and give you a break from one of your sales meetings. We'll come in and we'll run the sales meeting for you as far as the training part of it. We can speak for as little as 15 minutes all the way up to an hour. It's up to you. And we will talk with you, and you can pick the topic that you'd like us to train on. And so what you do is you just reach out to my company and say, I'd like to inquire about having one of the Eric Lofholm trainers be a guest speaker at one of my upcoming sales meetings. And instead of charging you $1,000 or more for that service, we'll do one on the house. No cost, no obligation. We'll just come in and share great ideas with your team. And once you inquire, then one of my trainers will contact you, and then the two of you will have a conversation. And 1, so you can get comfortable with the trainer coming out. And 2, together you can decide on what topic would you like. Do you want a motivational speech? Do you want closing skills? Do you want time management? Do you want goal setting? Do you want objection handling? Do you want referrals? Just about any skill building sales training technique or personal development, we can come and do a dynamic job. You can even have more than one topic. And what's great is, 1, as I mentioned, you get to take a week off of the training, and 2, your team gets to hear it from somebody else. They get to hear the message from somebody else. And sometimes that's what really helps your team, is they hear the message from the outside expert. So just reach out, and you can do that by emailing me at eric@ericlofholm.com. So eric@ericlofholm.com, or you can find me online at continuoussalesimprovement.com, or on any of the social medias, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. I'm the only Eric Lofholm in the world. So if you found Eric Lofholm on social media, you found me. The next idea is we'd love to offer you a free consultation to have a conversation about how we can come in and help you, come right alongside you to motivate your sales team. And so I'd love to have one of my trainers do a free consultation with you, get to know you, hear, where you're needing some support to see if we can come in and we can assist you. The third way we can help you is to install the continuous sales improvement mindset with your entire sales team. So what that looks like is we would come right alongside you, and we would install this mindset of having everybody on your team work on their skills for 15 minutes to an hour or more per week. And then what we do is we provide you fresh, new weekly content. So we tell your team, hey, work on your skills, and then we're going to give you modules that you can then share with your team. This is also great if you already have a training library. We'll get your team excited about going through the great training library that you already have. And one of the things I've found is a lot of times a training library in a company just sits there and nobody goes through it. But we'll come in and we'll get your team excited. Now, imagine if everybody on your sales team worked on their skills for 15 minutes to an hour or more per week, week in, week out, all those training hours start adding up. And there's a cumulative effect. The pattern of a breakthrough is we learn, and then we have a breakthrough. And we can come in and help you up-level the skill set of everyone in your organization. And idea number 4 of how we can help you is we call it our sprint product. And what we do is we come in and work right alongside you. One of my trainers will work with your sales team for a month, 2 months, or 3 months. So 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days. And we will create a game. And the game has points to it. We'll create a customized game for you. And what we're going to do is we're going to get your team to all sprint for 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days to peak perform and maximize your sales results. It's just a fun thing to do, to come in and provide something different for your team. And one of my professionals trainers, they'll come in and they'll work with your team on a webinar once or twice a month, and we can decide that when we talk. And we'll provide professional motivational training, skill building training, and then this game that we're going to install in and get everybody in your team peak performing for 30 to 90 days. So for any of these great offers, just send me an email, eric@ericlofholm.com, or find me on social media like LinkedIn, send me a message, or you can find me on my main website, continuoussalesimprovement.com. Eric Lofholm International and myself, we look forward to coming in and helping your team. We've got some great solutions, and we love helping sales teams increase their results. So that's today's show. It was great to be with you today. I want you to know you have greatness inside of you. I want you to know I believe in you. I'm in your corner, and I would love to help motivate your sales team. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.